10 years old. She was a fourth grader at an elementary school here in town. She was reported missing at 9 o'clock Sunday night by her father when she failed to return home from her aunt's house on her bicycle.
Police are looking for the person or people responsible in the death of 10-year-old Lily Peters. Police believe the girl left her aunt's house to bike home but never made it.
Police found Lily's bike in the woods near a walking trail, and this morning her body was found in a wooded area near that same trail. With a suspect on the loose, the area schools are telling parents to pick up and drop off their children instead of letting them walk or bike home.
Good evening, everyone. I am Chief Matt Kelm with the Chippewa Falls Police Department, and I'm providing an update on the homicide investigation. I first want to express my deepest condolences to the family and friends of Lily Peters. I will be able to answer a few questions at the end of this briefing, but please bear in mind that we are very early in this investigation, and I am limited in what information I can provide so as not to compromise the investigation. At this point, we do not have anyone in custody, and I want to reiterate that people remain vigilant as there could be a danger to the public. We have established a tip line, and we encourage anyone with information. Our investigators are following up with leads and tips actively. The people of our community are honest, hardworking, and kind-hearted. It is almost impossible to believe that something this horrific could happen in our city, and an event like this threatens our sense of security. However, I believe we will come together as a community to overcome this fear. A number of resources are being utilized in the search for answers in this tragic case. We currently have representatives from the Wisconsin Department of Criminal Investigations, the Wisconsin State Crime Lab, as well as many local law enforcement agencies assisting in this investigation who are working tirelessly to uncover the truth. We also have victim advocates who are working with the family. I would ask in closing that if anyone has any information about this case, that they please reach out to that tip line. And again, that's at 1-800-263-5906. There's a few questions. I will try to answer some of them.
Chief Kelm.
Well, the simple fact is that we have not made an arrest in this case, so the suspect is still at large. So in that case, we just want to be extra vigilant and make sure that if there are any tips, anyone has any information, to go ahead and call that tip line. We have a lot of investigators that are working on those all the time. At this point, no, we're not saying that. We're only a day into the investigation. This is a major incident, and we want to make sure we do it correctly, properly. And at this point, we don't have that information to give out. Right. At this point, we really can't say because, again, we're developing that information right now. Our investigators are following up on leads, and I don't really have anything to give out on that particular case.
It's scary for this community, for parents especially. What can you say to parents in Chippewa Falls tonight?
What I would say to parents in Chippewa Falls is that Chippewa Falls is a safe community. This is a very rare occurrence. However, we have to be cognizant to the fact that it will require some additional vigilance here today. So I guess that's what I would say at this point. Good evening. Thank you for coming. I'm Matthew Kelm. I am the police chief for the Chippewa Falls Police Department, and I'm providing an update on the homicide investigation. First and most importantly, earlier this evening we arrested a juvenile suspect in this case. The suspect was not a stranger. The suspect was known to the victim. We do not believe there is any danger to the community at this time. While nothing will bring Lily Peters back or change what happened, We are very grateful to be able to deliver this news for the family and for the community. Driving through town and through our communities, we can see the purple ribbons, and honestly, I would expect nothing less from the Chippewa Falls community, Chippewa Valley, and our surrounding communities. A tremendous amount of work has gone into this investigation by a large team of investigators, including those at the federal, state, county, and local level. Law enforcement has been working on this case 24 hours a day since this call came in less than 48 hours ago. First of all, I want to thank the community for the over 200 tips that we have received. These tips were critical to solving this case. Our security team has and will continue to hold the crime scene, which is the wooded area around the footpath between the north end of Grove Street and the Line and Kugel Brewery parking lot. This is important to the integrity of the investigation, and we would ask that you continue to avoid this area. The Wisconsin Department of Justice Crime Lab processed the crime scene last night. At that time, the body of Lily Peters was removed by the coroner's office. A forensic autopsy is being conducted. Investigators executed a search warrant at 422 North Grove Street. Evidence was collected and additional interviews were conducted. That is all the new information I have at this time. There is still much work to be done.
Take a train ride just to see you. Ride for hours just to please you. You don't know how much I need you. 'Cause you're my home away from home, away from home, away from being alone. Run away from home.
Learn just how big of a task I think that investigators are up against. We're at the Delphi City building. We've seen police coming and going this morning. We are told dozens of investigators are checking out hundreds of tips that have been relayed to the police. At the same time, they're still investigating the crime scene. It's a couple of miles outside of town. It is a remote area well off the public trails the girls were hiking Monday afternoon before they disappeared. The FBI is working with state and local police. I am told they're quite literally turning over every leaf in that crime scene, looking for any possible clues or evidence. They're also interviewing friends of the two girls for any information that might be helpful there.
Chief, you have not said anything that this is your panel. Talk about the impact this has had on your town.
It's had a terrible impact on our community. The people who have participated in the search, people who have participated in all the efforts to try to find the victims in this case are very much appreciated. But I know that's had a terrible effect on our people, and we are grieved this sort of thing would happen here in our community. I am pleased to see the community come out and help us the way that they have. I'm very pleased to be part of a community that has done everything they have done to help us out in this case.
Going forward, you're going to do everything. Obviously, you came to find out who was involved in this. I know earlier when we talked, pretty much all the law enforcement's been holding back tears because these young girls and families and the whole search is really taking a toll on you. So are you going to do everything, exhaust every option, just like you did in the search, to find out who was involved in this?
Yes.
Anything to say to the community?
Huge thank you.
Yes, thank you for all their help.
Should people in the community be afraid right now, based upon what you've seen and you know?
I think people are smart enough in our community to draw their own conclusions about what they should feel and shouldn't feel. Our people are very smart. We have a very good community, and they are very strong. And they are able to draw their own conclusions about this whole situation, I think, quite successfully. Thank you for the question.
Because, and the reason I ask is I hear the words foul play suspected. And people might be wondering if
there's somebody running around this community preying on people that they need to be afraid of.
I understand what you're saying.
Should they be?
I do. I think people are able to draw their own conclusions about this situation, and they are smart enough to figure out that what the situation warrants them to think. So that's all we have to say about that.
And you said you scaled back the search completely, so the hundreds of people, even they were coming up a little bit ago, can I offer my help? Can I get back out there? At this point, do you guys not want more people heading out in that area? What's the advice for people who do want to be involved in the search?
They can continue to help in the way we need the assistance at. I am not at the scene, and I'm not aware of what's going on out there at this point in time, so I can't really say what we're going to use them for. We may be just telling them we thank you for your help, and we may just be sending them back. So, again, it's we believe what you believe what you can, and then we got to go with the truth that we have. So that's what we're working on.
Carried away armloads of potential evidence and seized Logan's truck. Police, though, warned against rushing to any conclusions.
This is part of the investigation. This is not our first search warrant. We've done several others other than this residence. We've done some polygraphs. We've done all kinds of things to other people.
Mike Patty, Libby's grandfather, drove through the search area today. We called him for reaction. In a text, he replied, "My reaction is I hope the investigation, wherever it takes police, leads to the arrest of the person or persons involved."
But as we have gone into the investigation and have talked to other people, things are just not adding up.
When the girls' bodies were found, did the case immediately switch from missing person to double murder case, or was it a suspicious death type of investigation?
No, any one of those will always be the worst case scenario, and then we work it backwards. So that was a double homicide.
How quickly was the scene secured and an investigation of two deaths started?
Almost instantaneously, as I understand it. I got up there about 2 hours or so after the girls were found, and at that time it was completely sealed.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember where I was at that point. I was all over the place. I went to my grandpa's house, my other grandpa, and then after that I'm total blur until the funeral. And after the funeral I can talk about whatever. Mm-hmm. But before then it's everything's a little fuzzy still.
Yeah.
The family did tell you that this did often happen with the girls. They sometimes didn't come home. They might be at friends, and that Libby was wanting to go to her mom, so they may have ran off.
We had spoken to, obviously, the family a number of times as far as other locations the girls could have went to, and we had learned as far as their history, whether it be they went to each other's homes and not communicated that to other family members, that had happened in the past, but there had been times where the girls had been elsewhere and had not told, whether it be parents or grandparents or any other family members where exactly they were.
Okay, and then on to the next question. When asked if the community was in any immediate danger, your answer was no. Can you explain that, please?
Sure. I've been with this agency in particular for 32 years, and so I had a lot of feeling and real faith that we were not dealing with an ongoing event as far as someone going out there and committing this crime again. One thing I do want to speak to, though, is that more of a concern for me as a law enforcement leader was that we obviously did not want to create a large amount of paranoia and concern where individuals or families would have to constantly, if you will, be looking over their shoulder all the time, wondering, who's that behind me? That's no way for a community to live, in my opinion. And so, we wanted to convey that message that this was solely related to, or isolated, if you will, to these individuals involved. And so there was no factual information to believe that we were dealing with an ongoing situation with someone out there in the community. So I felt assured that, and still feel that way, honestly, that this is something that the community is safe in what's taking place in Carroll County.